Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope all of you are doing good and happy Memorial Day weekend. We're going to talk about that in a couple minutes as well. But before I get going, I just want to take 2 seconds to thank all of you who help support this channel and make me doing these streams and all of the videos that I do possible. Thank you for all the generous super chats that you leave, all of you that are Patreon supporters, channel members, and probably about 3/4 of the channel members can thank our friend QD for gifting so many generous memberships throughout the last few weeks and really months. Also, check out my locals community. There's a link in the description. It's a different site, censorship free, where I do streams weekly where I can actually touch guns live. Some of you guys have been watching my YouTube streams for, I don't know, 3-4 years now, however long it's been. And at one time, I used to be able to actually show you guns and be more interactive Q&A stuff. It was a ton of fun. We're still doing that and we're still having all that fun, but it's over on locals where you can join completely free. You can actually financially support as a free member. Go over there and you'll see how, or you can support monthly to help keep all of my endeavors going. And I am working hard to try to bring you guys good information. And I just wanted to take 2 seconds to thank everybody that makes that possible. I really appreciate you guys. And I do it for the Second Amendment to try to save this country. This is not how I make my living. I just got off the lawnmower a few minutes ago, which is why I'm usually late to my own streams on Friday nights. So there's a few things going on tonight, but at the end of the day, and I say this, and I'm going to say it again and again and again, and it's encouragement. You guys need to remind all of your friends that really it's just a battle of good versus evil. Times that evil's always prevailed, and it has in the past. Sometimes it doesn't. Right now, it seems like it is, and it will again in the future if good men do nothing. And there is evil in this world, and there's always going to be evil in this world. Lots of evil people in government, and lots of just regular old evil people too. I assure you of that. And there's a lot of good people. It just seems that the evil people are a little more active. They're a little more hell-bent. And most of the good people I know are a lot like me and you, actually. Just sitting back saying, leave me alone. Don't tread on me. And the founding fathers knew that. And that's why on July 4th, 1776, when our independence was officially declared from the King of England, they set up a government and they said what the government would be about. That all men are created equal and they're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, they also briefly talked about what the government would be, and it's very brief, but it's very simple, and it's very powerful. Why would we have a government? Well, obviously, the government wouldn't be there to grant us anything. No, that's completely repugnant to the Constitution. No, that to preserve these rights, that to defend these rights, governments would be instituted among men. It literally says to secure these rights, the government would be instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. And then it talks about how you have the right and you have the duty to abolish the government if it becomes contrary to that. And to put in a government that you feel will be most effective, right? In protecting your safety and happiness. And here's what I've noticed lately. And tell me if you guys have noticed this too. At least on the internet, I've noticed this. And also in real life. Look, there is a difference. You guys are real people, and I've met a lot of you. So just because we're on the internet together doesn't mean we're real. However, people do have different personalities and egos on the internet, and a lot of them seem a little bit different sometimes in real life than they do on the internet. But I've noticed something, and I'm going to talk about this tonight, that it seems like a lot of people, I don't want to say in the gun community because that's such a vast array of people. There's all kinds of people that have beliefs and values that are contrary to the Constitution and are contrary to the Second Amendment, yet they own guns. Those are inanimate objects. So I definitely don't like gun community. We could say the Second Amendment community, but the problem is we don't really have a very tightly woven Second Amendment community in many regards either, which is probably why we win sometimes, but then we keep losing too. But I don't want to digress too far. There seems to be a thing within whatever this community there is, where it seems to me a lot of people don't actually understand what a constitutional republic is, what a representative republic is, And then I think some people either have conflated the two or they know the difference. And there's a lot of people that seem they might want just complete and utter anarchy, for lack of a better word. Now, there might be pros and cons to anarchy. The founding fathers didn't agree with it, though. And that is not what a constitutional representative republic is. And I think it's time to talk about that. And I am going to tonight because it's an interesting topic. And a lot of conversations that I see people having in the chats, in my comment sections, and on other channels, I'm looking at this and I'm like, Now, maybe again, some people don't understand, or they do understand it, and they just want to ruin our republic. So when Ben Franklin was asked at the founding of this country, he was asked, "What have we, sir? A monarchy or a republic?" Which was a perfectly good question to ask at that time, because we had just fought a monarchy and people wanted to know, are we just going to start another monarchy here or a republic? And he said a republic if you can keep it, which by sheer definition, a representative republic is different than anarchy. And it is definitely different than no government at all. And that's why I'm going to start off right now with encouraging you guys. If this is going to be a government among men that only exists to secure your rights, you do actually have to interact with it. Or you can put in a new government that you seem will be most likely to affect your safety and happiness. And a lot of people lately, and I'm bringing this up because I can't be the only one, and I want to ask you guys if you're running into this, either on the internet or in real life. Because yes, we are real people, and I'm seeing people on the side here in the chat. I don't have time to say hi to all of you right now, but I know a lot of you in real life, and I've hung out with a lot of you face to face. And a lot of you guys do act exactly the same in real life as you do on the internet, but some people don't. So when I say that, it's a complicated thing I could go in circles on for hours. What is real on the internet? I don't know. But this is a real conversation, and I know you guys are real people that are hanging out here tonight. What I've been doing a lot, since I saw this coming, I knew Michigan was in big trouble. And Michigan is in big trouble. And in many cases, the United States of America is in big trouble. I think we can all agree on that at the very least, right? I said, yeah, doing videos talking about stuff is important because we definitely have to inform people, because if people don't know what's going on, if you don't know who your enemy is and you don't know where the battlefield's at, how can you possibly beat it? And we are in a war right now. We're literally in a civil war, a cultural war. And culture is actually above politics, in my opinion. And the will of the people right now appears to be all over the place and in complete and utter chaos. So I looked back at what a constitutional representative republic is. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just be blunt with you guys. I hate Lansing, Michigan, okay? I don't want to go there. It's scummy. It's weird. It's dark. And I've said this before, but I'm just going to say it because it's true. I've been inside the chamber. I was a House floor guest on the literal floor of the House of Representatives, and I could feel evil. I could just feel it. Now, I'm generally more of a logical person, and I like to look at things and put them on paper and do quantitative, qualitative, results. I'm not a person that just runs around like completely on emotions. However, this is either a blessing or a curse. I do have that part of my brain that works, and I try to keep it open. I like to use my instincts. And there's certain things that just become so prevalent. You just feel them. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I hope at least some of you do. If not, you guys think I'm crazy right now. I could just feel evil in that building. And I could just feel evil in that room. And that's why I keep saying this. This is a battle of good versus evil, and we have to do something. And I said, you know what? I'm not much. I'm not anybody. But I'm going to try to do something, whatever it is that I can do. And I started going to the Capitol. And I started going to the Capitol a lot. And since we have a representative constitutional republic, we have representatives and senators, both on the federal level as well as in all of our states. So me living in Michigan, there's logistics. I can't even afford to go to my own capital, except for a lot of you guys have helped out with that. And I've put all of the money you guys have donated to good use, and I always will. But it's hard enough, right? When you're a working man, just to go to your own capital, because you're taking time off work and then it costs money to go there. But that's what I had. That's the sphere of my control that I could do. I could get to my own state capital. Couple-hour drive. All right. It's a pain, but I could do it. So I started to go there. And I'm to the point now where anybody that'll talk to me. Now, unfortunately, the other side won't talk to me about this. I have tried. I have, and I still will continue to. And all the Republicans are not pro-Second Amendment because 5 of them voted for the so-called safe storage bill. Yeah, making it safer for the criminal and less safe for you. Now, guys, this isn't just me talking about Michigan again. This is way bigger than Michigan. I'm just using Michigan as an example. And thanks for the encouragement, guys. I'm seeing it out of the corner of my eye. I will come back and read all of this over the weekend, and I always do, and that's why I come back. Because seeing all of your lively conversation makes me realize it's still worth doing this. So, look, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. Well, there's several options here. Really, I could boil it down to 3 broad topics. I could either A, and this is what I could do, what you could do, what one could do, right? I'm using the plural you here. What you could do, you could either just say, all right, I'll do nothing. I'll do nothing. And that's actually what's called implied consent. Literally, if the people that govern over you, your representatives, your legislature, if they're just doing whatever the heck they want, and you literally do nothing whatsoever, then that's implied consent. You support what they're doing. That means you're 100% cool with it. Do you guys agree with me? I've thought about this a lot. I think I'm right, though. Or you can oppose it, or you can support it and uplift it. Now, there's varying different degrees. You could mostly not care, but kind of support a little bit of this, and you could oppose a little of that. But I'm saying there's generally 3 categories. Do nothing, and that's just implied consent. You consent to the governed, or you can oppose things that you're opposed to, or you can support things that you support. Now, look, I'm so busy working, guys. I don't even have time for that many friends, but I call you guys my friends because we don't hang out every day. I don't hang out with anybody every day. I don't really hang out with hardly anybody at all, actually. My life's like super blessed, but it's also kind of sad because I own a very, very small business, and I also do this YouTube channel and locals and my other media that I do. But you guys are all my friends because we're all encouraging, uplifting each other, right? Now, I didn't go to Lansing to make friends. I didn't go there to inherently try to make enemies, but I said somebody's got to go there. And how do I know if I want to support or oppose? Who do I want to oppose? Who do I want to support until I go there? And A, look at how they vote. And B, talk to these people and see where their stance is on things. I think you guys are following me so far. Now, some of them I now call my friends, not meaning that we hang out in real life, blah, blah, blah. Not that I trust them with my life. No, we're Second Amendment friends, right? Like, hey, look, I'm a one-issue voter. When it comes to just culture, politics, voting, this country, everything, the Second Amendment is the number one thing that I'm focused on. Why? Well, because I care about all the rest, and I believe the Second Amendment was put there for not if, but for when. They come for all the rest, and they're coming for all the rest in all 50 states and throughout the whole world, quite frankly. Now, there's one exception, and I will say this, and I'm not apologetic for it whatsoever. I didn't go there to make friends with politicians. I am friends with my state representative, Jamie Thompson. She's a personal friend of mine. Her husband is a very good friend of mine. I actually talked to her husband more than her, but he's part of her team, if you will. A good marriage is a team, right? So she's my friend in real life. She's also in my local community. The rest of these people, look, they're nice. Some of them are not so nice. But I'm going there to find out who the friends of the Second Amendment are, who the Second Amendment defenders are, right? I noticed this notion lately, and it's not going to get me down at all. I'm just letting you guys know this to offer you encouragement. Because if people are doing this to me, they have to be doing it to you too. And I'm strong, guys. I appreciate the support. I'm fine. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go even faster and do more of what I believe is right. But I want to encourage you guys, because sometimes people just feel they're alone and they're like, geez, am I the only one where everyone's just black-pilled to death and trying to discourage me? There's been this notion that some people are trying to start lately within the community, and they've been starting it around here saying, look at 2A Edu. He's a sellout. He's going to Lansing and talking to politicians. Interesting. Well, first of all, if I sold out, it wasn't a very profitable venture, because if it wasn't for you guys and your generous support, you guys fund me when I go to Lansing, to make that crystal clear, okay? And I still lose money at the end of the day. That's the truth. So if I sold out, it wasn't very profitable whatsoever. I make much more money cutting lawns and laying down mulch and power washing and staining decks. And there's not even a lot of money in that. But there's way more money in that than going to Lansing for totally free. Okay. And the other thing is, well, he's talking to politicians. Don't criticize me. If that's all you're doing is saying, he's going to talk to politicians, and I'm going there narrowly about the Second Amendment. Yes, there's many issues that are important to me. In Michigan, it's called Michigan Constitution, Article 1, Section 6. But the Second Amendment, and even in Michigan, we call it just Second Amendment, Second Amendment rights, people call it. I like to say Second Amendment protected rights, because the Second Amendment didn't give us any rights. Neither did the Michigan Constitution or the Kentucky Constitution, if you live there, by the way. So look, I wish people would just cut to the chase. And if they truly want to learn, I'm here, and hopefully they can learn tonight. But if not, I wish they just cut to the chase and say, I hate the Founding Fathers. I hate Thomas Jefferson. I hate the United States Declaration of Independence. And I hate the Constitution. And I hate anything America stood for from 1776 onward. Because look, I don't even recognize what country I live in anymore. Okay? It makes me sick. It makes me want to puke to think on Memorial Day, all of the brave people who fought and they died. And they thought in their mind they were doing it so we may be free. And I appreciate that, because I know almost all of them did that for the right reasons. I'm talking the troops, just the regular people. Because people in the Pentagon usually don't go die for their country, do they? No, they're too busy inking deals for the military-industrial complex. So yeah, where are we at right now? It makes me sick. It makes me sad. And it makes me very sad and very disgusted, especially coming up here on Memorial Day. However, people don't want to give me a hard time for advocating that you write and call your United States congressman over this pistol brace, which you still need to do that, and we'll talk about that in a minute, or want to get down on me and say somehow I'm less American for going to my state capital and going to this nasty, putrid, evil place that's controlled by complete and utter tyrants and despots. And every time I walk in there, I'm going higher on that list that they're putting me on, and anybody who finds them repulsive to this representative constitutional republic. Look, just cut to the chase and say you're an anarchist, that you want complete and utter chaos, you want to watch the world burn, and you just want to run around with your bloodlust killing everybody. If that's people's true motive, and I'm telling you, not just for people watching me right now, but this is something you can tell all your black-pilled, completely miserable, completely un-American friends. Because, look, I didn't come up with any of this stuff. If it sounds like I'm bragging, the only skill I possess, I guess, is that I actually know how to read the Declaration of Independence and its mandate on what it would be to be an American. And when we go further onto the Constitution, about a dozen years later, 1788, Bill of Rights written and drafted in 1789, and then put into the complete rule of law, ratified, it's called, in 1791. This is what it's supposed to be. A representative constitutional republic. It's real simple. It means this. First of all, we're a republic, not a democracy. A democracy is two wolves voting against one sheep on what's for dinner. It's mob rule. It's the majority of the people delegating their rights away to the minority elites. That's what democracy is. And we do not want a democracy, and the founding fathers did not want a democracy. And the closer we get to democracy, the worse off we are. And I think them using the word democracy mainstream is part of what we're seeing, the collapse of this grand experiment on self-governance, this republic, if we can keep it. Now, hold on. I'm going to go a little bit further with this. We say representative constitutional republic. That means the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. There is no debate. If you are to live in the United States of America, the United States Constitution, Bill of Rights, first 10 amendments, those are the law of the land. And anything contrary to that would be antithetical to the United States of America and to this republic, right? That's called being rule of law. And I do want rule of law, but only if we're ruled under just law, under the supreme law of the land, which in the United States is the United States Constitution, not the federal government of America. No, these United States. We are supposed to be many states that are very loosely united by actually a very weak federal government. Yeah. See the 10th Amendment. And even weaker than the powers of the states is supposed to be the federal government. The most powerful is supposed to be we the people. Read the second part of the 10th Amendment and also read the 9th Amendment. Talks very specifically about where power is. Talks very specifically about who has rights. Only people have rights. No governments have rights at all. Not local, not state, not federal. There are no rights in government. There's only powers that are delegated to government. And all rights are inherent. These are laws of nature and of nature's God. Now, that's some of the principles. The Constitution in Michigan would be the Michigan Constitution, is the supreme law of the land within the mitten state. And even that funny looking thing above the bridge. Shout out to all the Yoopers. I had to take a jab at you, but it was totally friendly. All right. Well, it's kind of like two mittens. You just have to do a weird sideways thing. You know, shout out Yoopers. You guys are awesome. Now look. Representative. That means we're not a straight democracy. I just said what that is and how terrible it is. And I hope you guys remind your friends that are trying to browbeat you of what that means. It means we send people to Lansing, Michigan, if you live in Michigan, to be our representatives. We have reps and we have senators. Now, in the United States of America, we also send people from our local districts to Washington, D.C., to the swamp. And when we say the swamp, we say that for many reasons. First of all, the city was literally built on a swamp, like literally a swamp. And then it's swamp, meaning like it sucks you in and there's like murky, dark creatures. Yeah. Can't think of Memorial Day without thinking of the military-industrial complex. You can't think about swamp creatures without mentioning the military-industrial complex. But I digress. So, when I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, what are these United States of America? Well, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's pretty crystal clear. That's what I want. My state government's going against that. What are we supposed to do? Well, I read this. I talk about this a lot. Probably more than anybody, actually, just to be honest. At least on YouTube, channels I watch. And people are like, oh my gosh, you're actually getting involved in your government? Not meaning I'm running. I'm not running for anything. Are you kidding me? I don't want to run and not running. Now, what I mean by getting involved is, it's just right here, actually. I didn't write this. Somebody a lot smarter than me did. Somebody that a lot of these black-pilled, nasty, antithetical to this representative constitutional republic hate. See, I'm learning more and more that people that are coalescing, calling themselves Second Amendment supporters, calling themselves freedom lovers, rights people, freedom people. No, in my opinion, they don't want to be free at all. They probably want to burn it all down in hopes that out of the ashes that they can rise as the phoenix and come up and rule over an empire of dirt. That's my suspicion. although I'm not sure. But I believe this is what was in mind when this country was started. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you know what's crazy? I know Thomas Jefferson wished this. I know a lot of people wish this, and I really do. I wish we could have just stopped right there. I mean, that's like the most beautiful thing. All men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these, not limited to, but among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And look, if men were angels, we could have literally just stopped right there, put a period on it, and it would have been all over. But before the Declaration of Independence was written, a document called the Federalist Papers was written. In the Federalist Papers, it says, "But what is government itself, but the greatest of all reflections on human nature? If men were angels, no government would be necessary." Look, this is so simple, but yet it's so profound. Think about this. If men were angels, no government would be necessary, and our whole government could be one sentence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. If men were angels, you put a period there, that would be it, and everything would be perfect. Now, those of you that are of religious faith, no, that's not going to be true, and it's never true, because God gave the devil dominion over the world, that he could tempt us with evil. Those of you that are not religious, you might understand it in a carnal way, or look, everyone understands good and evil, the creation of it in different ways, but it's kind of a you know it when you see it thing, in my opinion. But men were not angels. So the Federalist Papers continue. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. So what that says, so simply put, and this is for all of you that are suffering from the black pill, from the dredges of society within this republic. No, I'm not talking about their socioeconomic status. No. The dregs of society that want to drag this republic down and make it all want to burn. And in my opinion, so they can rise up and rule over it. That's just my opinion. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. So that means government are certainly not angels. So we have to have both internal and external checks on our government. Now, the way the government was written up, drafted up on paper, that would be the internal checks. Look, the Constitution says every person has the right to keep and bear arms in defense of himself and the state. That's Michigan Constitution, Article 1, Section 6. So the internal check on Michigan's government right now, and this is in the Constitution that was drafted as recently as 1963. No, not 1763, not 1863, 1963, when they did the current revision of the Michigan Constitution. That's what it said. And that's that internal check, no doubt, that the Federalist Papers are talking about. But they didn't just say internal checks. They said external checks. Dude, obviously, that's me. That's you. We are the external check on our governors, people who govern us, our government. And that's why I've been going to Lansing. And that's why I encourage you guys to. And I encourage you to write. And I encourage you to call, because it says that to secure these rights. This is back to the Declaration of Independence again. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. If you do nothing, you consent. No, trust me, you actually do. If you consent, then you offer support and you consent. Or you oppose. It's really the only three things you can do. Let's just narrow it down to one issue right now. You can have different views on different issues, but we're talking about the Second Amendment right now. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. alter or to abolish it. People seem to only get stuck on that one thing. Let's just go in there, human wrecking ball, one-man army, just launch me from a thing, an apparatus, and I'll just plow right through and take out the whole Capitol with my own human body or something. I don't know what people mean exactly, but the way people have been talking a lot lately, it seems like that's what a lot of them actually mean, or something just as preposterous as that, actually. Okay, so gun control. It's coming to Michigan big time. It's coming to the United States big time, and has been for a very, very long time. So how is it? Look, if I was a connected person, if I was born of a senator, if I was born of a representative, if I was part of the elite upper class, I could see some of the suspicion. I really could. If I was a lobbyist, I thought that somebody like me, who's literally a nobody nothing, okay, my socioeconomical status is right down there, about as low as it could get, was willing to walk into their state capitol and find out where the bear poops, who stands where, and find people that are contrary, right? Contrary to my natural God-given rights, call them out, which I've been doing, and those that are supporting it, support them, because that's what a representative republic is. But what do I get? I'll give you guys a real quick example. And this is not me crying about myself. I'm just talking about what I think is happening to a lot of us. I think a lot of people are getting browbeat by supposedly our own. I'm telling you, there's a lot of toxic people on the internet. So keep your chin up. Because I know it's affecting a lot of you, because I've had people in real life saying, dude, I don't want to go to a meet and greet or a coffee hour with my rep, because I don't want the guys online to think I'm some kind of jackboot or bootlicker or whatever. No, you're only a bootlicker if you're licking the boots of the jackboots. But if you're supporting somebody, if the Second Amendment's your cause, and that is the focus of this channel, if you're going there, look, I have many focuses, but that's what I talk about here, right? I think you guys all get that. If I'm going there to uplift people who are protecting and defending the Second Amendment, Michigan, Section 1, Article 6, Section 1, rather. Look, I said it backwards the second time. You guys knew what I meant. Article 1, Section 6. How am I licking a jackboot? So hold on a minute. If you stand for what Thomas Jefferson wrote here, are you licking a jackboot? Maybe according to some people, but definitely not me. Now I go on here. And a lot of these people just can't help themselves. They go straight into talking about like a certain race of people, race, religion of people in the Middle East. And they usually just totally lose themselves. And look, it's not me, but Susan WikiWiki, she still works at YouTube. What's happening, Susan WikiWiki and all the YouTube employees? They come in and blow their comments out of the water, but I can usually see them for a minute before they get deleted. But literally, people are coming in here just saying like some of the weirdest stuff lately. I posted something just yesterday. Representative Angela Regas wrote her op-ed, her official statement on the state of Michigan's website. Overreaching red flag laws erode rights of lawful gun owners. Look, there's literally people that I don't think in the chat right now, but literally were like losing their mind last night saying, hold on, she said lawful gun owner. Look. That's a term of art. Because when they outlaw guns, right, only outlaws will own guns. And it's a wake-up call for people when you say, look, even the lawful gun owner, even the lawful, law-abiding citizen, even they're getting affected now because, look, these laws only do affect the law-abiding, obviously, because criminals don't follow laws. That's why they're considered criminals. And I agree that there's way too many laws on the books. But here's what I want to say that's interesting here. And this has to be happening throughout your states and throughout the whole United States. Like, I'm giving you guys real examples, but it's much more prevalent than just this one specific thing or one representative. Now, this is interesting because I've gotten the time to know Representative Angela Regis. And here's what I mean by getting to know her. I've been checking her voting record, as a lot of politicians do, but most of them actually don't. Some do, most don't, is how I should say it. She'll come on her Facebook once every week or two and list all of the ways she voted and explain why. Maybe not quite as much as Dr. Ron Paul, who was the former congressman in Texas. They used to call him Dr. No because he'd vote no like 99% of the time. But Angela Regis is almost the Dr. No of the United States House of Representatives. She'll literally vote no on something with an explanation. Now, she votes yes on some bills too. Not any gun control bills. Zero gun control bills. I'm just talking all of the different bills they vote on. A lot of them are about stuff that we don't even keep track of. It's like weird little nuanced stuff. But she'll literally vote no. This is this very specific representative here. She'll literally vote no on stuff, and she'll give you an explanation and say, look, while I actually agree with the underlying intent, I don't think the government should handle this because it just gives the government more power. And I don't trust the government. And I think the government is very inefficient at whatever it does, and it messes up everything. Now, I'm grouping together a bunch of her explanations into one quick thought there. Here's the point of what I'm getting at. Let me circle around. I literally put up a statement by one of the most pro-Second Amendment state representatives that I know. And I mean no by, again, reading her votes, reading her explanation for her votes. Yes, I've also gone in her office and talked to her. I've sat down in the chair in her office while she's sitting at her desk, and we've talked about very specific issues. So yes, I've talked to her. Yes, I've seen her at rallies and given her a hug, and I've seen a lot of you guys at rallies and shook your hand or giving you hugs too. Hopefully some of you guys can vouch for that. I see my friend Jane Locke. Can't wait to give you another hug next time I see you. But look, I literally put out a statement from one of the most pro-Second Amendment reps I know that, by the way, will literally vote no on bills where she agrees with the underlying topic just because she wants less government. And there was this concentrated campaign. It must have been somebody with a small YouTube channel that told all their viewers to come over and do it or something. But they come through. They're like, oh, look at you. You should just run for office yourself now because you're with them now and you're a politician. And I'm like, no, actually, I'm trying to hold my government accountable. And when I see somebody doing the right thing for the Second Amendment in this case, I'm going to support them because the other side's doing everything possible that they can do to tear them down. And then people come in and say stuff like, well, and this isn't just with this post. This is just me summarizing. I'm trying to show you guys. I'm trying to lead by example and be like, look, you can go talk to your representative in whatever state you're in. You can talk to your local senators. It's hard to do on the federal level. I get it. But local and state level, it's a lot easier and you're a lot more effective. But if people are so frustrated at this point where they literally just want to watch the world burn so hard that they're frustrated that somebody's going there try to offer encouragement with a representative that's a freshman. So people will say, well, and if this is, I'm not just talking about Angela Regis right now. It could be Jamie Thompson. It could be Jamie Green. Could be Rochelle Smith. Yeah, there's a bunch of women freshmen that have come into the Michigan House of Representatives and men too. My friend Bob Bazat, not a freshman. Okay, but look. If people are literally like, burn it down, 2A EDU's a jackboot because he's hanging out with a representative, hanging out. No, I'm actually going there. Like, we're not like going out to like a fancy dinner. We're not like going to the arcade. We're not like going to the water park or watching movies. No. I'm going there to talk about very specific bills in the hallway, in their office, wherever, text message, email. I'm busy, they're busy. If people are saying that I'm a jackboot because I'm talking about a representative that has a 100% perfect record on the Second Amendment so far, that has voted no on every last thing that was even a scintilla of infringement. And then they'll come back and say, but where was she 6 years ago? Nah, 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 nah. Guys, this shows you how much trouble we're in right now. It's easier for people to come in and get on the internet and try to berate somebody who's actually trying to take part in a representative constitutional republic, holding the people accountable, making sure they follow the Constitution that represent me. It's easier just to sit there and hurl black-pilled, cult-like crap and insults than it is just to do a 10-second Google search and they can answer their own question. Because if they spent half the time of sending this long, drawn-out essay to me, they could have just Googled and said Michigan Representative Angela Regas, and they would have known why she didn't pass any pro-gun bills 6 years ago, because, skip even a lot sooner than that, 3 years ago, she was a hairdresser on the Capitol lawn, cutting hair, lost her beautician's license, lost her CPL. Yeah, literally. Was getting threatened to go to jail for a long, long time for cutting hair on the Capitol lawn. Just think about how messed up we're getting to be as a society, and not you guys that are here. I'm going to say that one more time. But maybe a lot of your friends and a lot of people on the internet. You've got a landscaper going up there to talk to a hairdresser who lost her beautician's license and her CPL for cutting grass. I would have gone to jail if I cut grass, okay? She was cutting hair on the front lawn of the Capitol just 3 years ago in 2020. It was illegal to cut grass. It was illegal to cut hair. It was illegal to even be alive in the state of Michigan. And by them going to represent we the people in Lansing and voting no on any gun control bill there is, and even voting no on other things that she likes, but yet doesn't want to give government any more power. Somehow she's a jackboot and I'm a jackboot for trying to offer encouragement. People are literally crazy right now. And I just want to let you guys know that. Because it can't just be me that's noticing. It can't be. So I'm going to call them out when I've called them out. I've called out the rhinos, okay? I've called out the Democrats. I've called them all out. But am I going to call out Representative Angela Regas for literally doing exactly what I want her to do in defending the Second Amendment? Hell no. Am I going to call out my friend Representative Jamie Thompson, who's in a purple district, besides Jamie Churches, who is, you guys remember seeing Jamie Churches when we were showing that? Yeah, she's a real beauty in a different kind of way. Besides Jamie Churches, Jamie Thompson won by the narrowest margin. By the narrowest margin in the whole Michigan House of Representatives. And she stood up and she said, if you elect me, I will stand for the Second Amendment ultimately 100%, no matter what, even if they guarantee me it's going to cost me my job and my election. And she's the purplest rep that there is, meaning I hate the gang warfare colors, but it's just a way for you guys to know what I mean. She won by the narrowest margin, second narrowest margin in the whole state. She's voted no on all of the gun control that's come through so far. And I'm going to hold her more accountable than anybody because she is my friend and is pledging to do it all the way through no matter what. Now, she's not going to lose because there's a lot more Second Amendment supporters in her district than what the other side wants to think. However, if that's the definition of a jackboot, and if I'm licking the boot to stand up for that, then those people can just venture forth and fornicate themselves and go rule over their empire of hateful, black-pilled, garbage, dirt, if that's what they want. If people mess up, I'm going to call them out. But I am not going to apologize for following the blueprint that literally Thomas Jefferson himself laid down. And he told you what to do about what a government is. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. I don't know why it's gotten to where the point, and this is important because this is a culture war. Why has it become culturally acceptable in the Second Amendment community to be a complete anarchist? And if you even consider writing your rep, if you consider going face to face to talk to your rep, that you're somehow considered the jackboot? No. All these pieces of crap that just run their mouth on the internet and try to discourage anybody from any active participation in government at all, they're actually encouraging people to do nothing. So I actually could argue they're the jackboots because, remember, it's called implied consent. If they get up there, and the other side does, if Gretchen Whitmer says, and if you elect me, if you elect me, or I get instituted otherwise, if you know what I mean, if I get installed into the governor's mansion, her husband was water skiing. Guys, when Representative Angela Regas was cutting hair on the Capitol steps, I was there at that rally that day. So was Jane Locke and probably other people. Look, the governor said, look, if you elect me, while you guys are getting arrested for cutting grass and cutting hair, yeah, it's true. That's the despotic, tyrannical state that we've been living in ever since the flu. Meanwhile, her husband, he's water skiing, he's whatever. How many seniors, Whitmer? Nobody knows how many seniors. If it was even one, you'd be locked away and throw away the key. Nobody knows how many thousands, nobody knows. Now just think about this. But she gets up there and says, and if you elect me, I'm coming for your guns. And then if Representative Jamie Churches, okay, Wyandotte area, not Jamie Thompson. There's 3 Jamies in the Michigan House. 2 of them I really like. Look, Jamie Thompson is just my friend, period. She's a good friend of mine. I will tell you guys this. Besides her, the other Jamie Green, she's my friend. She's my Second Amendment sister. You know, we don't hang out outside of work. I just talked to her at the Capitol. Okay, look. Jamie Churches said, you elect me, I'm coming for all your guns. Okay, and she is. While we're on Jamie's, Jamie Thompson says, if you elect me, it's a hill I'll die on. I will protect and defend the Constitution and your Second Amendment protected rights till the end, no matter what. Okay, that's the contrast. 2 things have been proffered to you. And if you do nothing, and by doing nothing, the other side wins, then you may as well just go vote for Jamie Churches. You may as well support all of her gun control package. That's pretty much where we're at this point. Because all of the radical anti-gun, all of the radical people that want to completely and utterly destroy this country, they're out there working. They're out there every single day. Moms Demand Action shows up by the hundreds and even by the thousands. They've done this many times already, just in the last few months in Michigan alone. That's what I've witnessed personally. You guys chime in what you've witnessed in your home states. I watched them take over the whole capital of Tennessee. And the governor to hold a special session. Now, I know some of your reps are fighting back. Tennessee, figure out which reps are fighting back against your governor that's trying to put red flags in. Red flag laws, gun confiscation orders in. This isn't just a Michigan thing. I'm bringing up Michigan. But you guys need to, in your head, start thinking, okay, my representative's this. How many of you guys know, meaning know where they stand, and have had even a 30-second conversation with 50 people in your state House of Representatives? How many people know 50 of them? And I don't mean you're out there hanging out and going to the movies. I mean just here's where they stand. I've at least talked to them just a little bit or written them a letter, and I got a correspondence, or you went to a coffee hour, or you walked down their office. How many know 50? How many know 25? 20? 15? 10? 5? Just throw the number in there if you want. And when I say no, let me be very clear again. Know where they stand on the Second Amendment, assuming that's a very important issue to you. 5? 1? How many know 1? And you don't have to say this because I promise you I'm not trying to embarrass you. And look, guys, we're having a very candid conversation here. If people mention zero, don't look, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you. I would encourage you not to be jerks or mean to people. Is it zero, though? And if it is, why? Is it because you're completely happy with all the infringements in your state? Because there ain't a state out there that doesn't have some form of gun control. If it is zero, just think about what was written in the Federalist Papers. Are men angels? Certainly not. Look, if men were angels, did anyone agree with me on that earlier, by the way? If men were angels, we could just take this one sentence and that would be our whole document. Just think about this. If it was all angels among us, right? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these, right? Among these, not limited to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they could have just put a period there and it would have been all over with. But no, we're not a democracy, which is tyranny of the majority. We are a representative republic with a constitution that has a supreme law of the land. If the government's to be instituted among men, who the heck is that? If it isn't you, I'm not condemning anybody. This is all me offering encouragement. This is the building blocks of what it means to be an American. And yes, I am still focusing on the state level. Why? Because we are the United States of America. We are not the singular federal authoritarian government of America. Yeah, actually, that is probably what we're turning into more and more every day. I totally get it. Okay. Ignorance is bliss. I'm not being blissfully ignorant. No. But if we want a government that's closer to the founding, that's closer to us having some liberty and freedom again, we should actually look at what was prescribed, right? If the government's instituted among men, that means we need to hold these elected public servants accountable. And if you have questions about elections, which I can't say much about it, but I can say this, a lot of people have had questions and concerns. And I understand those questions and concerns. Guess who puts all of those physical systems in place? Also public servants that are voted in. Do you know the people that are in your local precinct? Do you know the people on your township level, your township board? Do you know your city hall? Do you know anybody from your county board of commissioners? See, because this is where it kind of seems more and more boring the smaller I get. But that is actually where they make decisions a lot of times on how things are going to be accounted for, right? Who's going to come in and supervise the counting of ballots, things like that. So if you have questions, you have concerns, sure, air them out on the internet. That's totally fine. Blow off some steam, whatever. I totally get it. But there are actual people who have effect in making these decisions. And these are actually usually on your, starting at your most local level of government, all the way up to your state level. The Constitution makes something crystal clear. The states have the ultimate 100% supreme authority over how they hold elections. You look at what's happening in Arizona right now. Carrie Lake challenged. She may have lost in a way, but I think she actually may have lost the battle with a better chance of winning the war. Because even though she's been losing in court, okay, Carrie Lake, the governor candidate for Arizona, yes, she lost the governor's race. She's, quote, losing in court, but hold on. The state legislature just came in and vastly revamped the voting laws in Arizona. So that's just one example. One example of a way that you guys can see her kind of going over the heads of the court system, over the heads of the bureaucracy. She went to the Arizona people, and enough of them demanded that the legislature, we're just talking in the last couple of days, this is breaking news. The way things are going forward, going to be changing in Arizona. So I'm not only talking about Michigan right now, Arizona, look at them, what they're doing. We'll see what happens by the time it all shakes out, but it's not all bad. It's not all bad. That's out of the corner of my eye. David Howard, yeah, man, that is why I'm doing this, because let me know, dude, or anyone else that's watching. I know somebody's had people just be like, just watch it burn it all down. But why? Be very careful what you wish for. Very careful, because the United States of America is about the only revolution I can keep track of or account for since its inception. The people have been more free. Yeah. So if people hate the mandates of the founding documents, because here's the thing, it's not just that it's your right. It says it is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. You guys do know that, like, getting a jackbooted tyrannical leader out of office and bringing someone in that you feel will be more likely to affect your safety and happiness, that is part of what they mean by throwing off a tyrannical government, right? No, it really is. I know, like, in the video game generation, and look, it's glorified to go through there and in video games and rack up body counts and do all this. I get it. It's fun, and we are on the internet, but that's not the only method to throw off a tyrannical government, and that's not the only method that the founding fathers tried either. And what have I told you? That the people that are calling for certain things, but they've not lifted even their pinky finger to even find out one person that's representing them on any level in their whole state. First of all, they'll type what they type. But would they really go and actually fight? If that's what was necessary, would they truly fight if they couldn't even take up enough effort to even know who they're fighting against? I mean, just imagine that. Imagine a complete, I know anarchy has different definitions, and someone will probably come in pedantic semantics. I mean more of the chaotic anarchy type. Look, if you don't even know who the good ones and bad ones are, how could you possibly run on a battlefield? What are you just gonna, like in the video game, some of these cheesy ones on the phone where you just sit there and you just go around in a circle? Like, reading some of this stuff on the internet makes you think that's what people literally want to do. It's like, oh, just took out that ally, just took out. You guys get the irony, right? Look, unless every single person that has a grievance of this government knows who their federal congressman and federal senator are, United States Congress, United States Senate, until you know who they are. And I would actually say, now look, because that's the thing, like, war is a pretty big deal. You better do your homework first. Like, it's a huge deal. So I would argue you should probably know who everyone in your whole state legislature is and know where they stand on these issues that do compel you for the separation, right? So you better know where they all stand on all the issues. If these are the people that are representing to you, better know where they stand first. I'm not saying whether you agree with them or not right now. You just better know where they stand. And you better know where all of the elected officials of your county and your hometown stand. Because until you know they stand, you want to fight. See, people just keep saying, I want to fight, I want to fight. But what do they want to fight? Because I say, where's your state rep stand? Where's your county board of commissioners stand? Screw that. I don't acknowledge they exist. Okay, so what? You acknowledge no government at all? You don't acknowledge the United States of America? Like, this whole thing literally gets to be very convoluted. Clearly ain't nobody gonna fight Concord Bridge or Lexington Green style. That's obvious. Because it's hard enough. And I get ridiculed 1,000 times more from my own so-called, I think a lot of them are agent provocateurs, and you should think the same thing when people are trying to razz you for just like reading founding documents and like real common sense, easy to understand stuff, right? Look, they won't go through enough effort to even know, like, if they even have like a state rep or even like who their name is. You have to know who their name is before you could possibly even know like how they vote, right? So let me get this straight. You don't even know who their name is. You have no idea what they stand for, just that they're bad. I don't mean you guys watching. I just mean certain people, right? But you're going to go do all this and you're going to do all this? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I'm going to read some of these generous super chats because I do see you guys have been generous and I want to read them to see what you guys are saying. And then I am going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to change the title of this, by the way, because I don't want it to be clickbait. I'm not really talking much about the pistol brace thing because I actually did a video talking about it earlier tonight. And as of right now, that's all still current information. And as of right now, that video has like no views on it at all. So I don't think the pistol brace topic's anything anybody cares about whatsoever. So I'm going to change the title when this is over and probably not talk about the pistol brace real much tonight. All right. What have I got, Linda? Are you with me still? QD with a super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. He says, your state government films themselves breaking their own rules. Equals bills, equals laws. Yes, they do. And a lot of you guys have witnessed that. I moved for immediate effect. Immediate effects granted. No, that wasn't 2/3 that just voted for that. You guys have seen it on this channel. If not, go back and watch some of my old library on replay or whatever. Thanks, QD. I appreciate you, man. Ultra Mega Mama Linda, there she is. Says QD just gifted 20 channel memberships. Thank you. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate you supporting the channel. And I should have a little get together channel member stream here soon. I've done that before. I should probably do that again when I get a minute. That'll be fun. Thanks, QD. QD again with a generous super chat. Thanks, man. Thanks for being so generous. He's saying, who the F is saying that? Effing sad, negative people. Stop worrying about dum-dums. Well, I appreciate the encouragement, dude, but I'm encouraged. I appreciate it. I'm actually just going through all this because I think it's becoming prevalent. And it has to be affecting some of you. Now, everybody let me know you've never seen anyone like that in your life, and I'll never talk about this topic again. But I've been talking to some people around here and online both, and they're like, dude, like, it ain't cool to go to like your capital. It ain't cool to talk to a representative. I know. I ain't in this to be cool, though. I'm in this to try to make a difference, and that's why I do this. If I wanted to be cool, there'd be many better ways to do that, right? Thanks, QD. QD with another generous super chat. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate you, dude. He says, oh, the politicians, LOL. I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but yeah, I could. Look, guys, I'm not running for anything. I've never ran for anything. There's a reason for that. It is not for me. Definitely not for me. But my Second Amendment is my number one issue. That's what I truly care about. And I'm going to go there, and the ones that are defending it, I have to defend them. Look, it's your right, it's your duty, because look, all of this gun control is violent. Red flag laws are violent. One of the most violent things, actually, if you think about it. And silence is violent. If you just sit there and do nothing at all, they're just going to keep passing more and more and more. Yeah. I'm going to start what Band Talk said here, Linda, and put that in the queue. I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. And Jane Locke there. Okay, what else have I got, Linda? QD again. Thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it, dude. You know how hard I'm working behind the scenes for this channel. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I'm not apologizing for what I'm doing, but I'm trying. I may not be successful, but I'm not going to go down without a fight. Neither are you guys. I know it. He says, don't forget about de-evolution and the government contingency plans, LOL. Civilians are lowest in the totem pole. I know. I think about that a lot on Memorial Day weekend, man. A lot, actually. There's evolution and there is de-evolution. I still want to get that shirt where it shows us hunched down. It shows a person hunched down like a caveman, and then they finally get upright, and then they de-evolve right back down. Have you guys seen that shirt? It looks like it's called de-evolution, and then now they're hunched back down on their keyboard. 2AEDU is a jackboot. Sorry, we're not all as important as you to go meet reps. Dude, you made yourself unimportant. If anyone ever says that, they made themselves unimportant. Yeah, when you sit home, this is just the facts, guys. Very candid facts. When you sit at home and bloviate on the internet and run your suck to a YouTuber and don't do anything at all, yeah, you're very unimportant and you are a POS because you're literally doing nothing other than trying to blackpill me, which will never, ever, ever, ever happen. But look, of course you're unimportant. When you do unimportant things, you're going to get unimportant results. Now, God loves people like that just as much as me or anybody else. But yes, some people are living a very, very unimportant life by literally doing nothing, but trying to condemn people who are trying. That's true. That's actually very, very true. I'm saying this is encouragement. If a landscaper that does not come from any wealth and don't come from any esteem can walk into the state capitol, figure out how to find the elevator. Yes, the first time I was there, in the House office building and the main building, they're both like a maze. And the Senate building, too, there's two different... Look, all these buildings are like this. Walking around completely lost, trying to find the elevator. That's where I've started. I've started with, I'm lost, I can't find the elevator. And then you walk up to the directory, and you're like, wow, there's lots of people that work in here. All right. Office 812, it'll say. What's that mean? You go in the elevator. I'm going to guess, since there's 13 floors, 812 is probably the 12th office on the 8th floor. Like, and then I go in there and say, I'm here to talk about the Second Amendment. I want to know this. I want to know that. Like, some of this stuff just literally blows my mind. Well, that's easy for you. You're 2AEDU. You can just walk in there and... No, anybody can walk in there and talk to these people. Anybody can go in and ask questions. Inquire. Reprimand. Speak displeasure. Speak encouragement. Yeah, just like everything in this society. Whether you agree with it or not, that's a long discussion that I could have a lot of fun doing. But once you get to the point where you're threatening them, you're going to get arrested. That's how that works in the society we're in now. But other than that, you're allowed to go in there, and unless you're making imminent and direct threats, whatever. I'm not a lawyer, but you can go in there and speak support. You can go in there and speak displeasure. You can have conversations of inquiry. Yeah. So, somebody literally said that to me just the other day. Can't remember who they were because I just don't have time to deal with people like that. But they were saying, like, aren't you quite the important person? It's like, you want to be important? Then go actually do something. And here's what's ironic about it. I've said more than anybody I know. I'm like, you guys are important. You guys are all very, very important. And I mean that. Whether you realize your potential or not, that's up to you. But when Thomas Jefferson said the government was to be instituted among men, he meant people like you. Whether that's you running for office yourself or whether you're holding the people that you elected to represent you, we are in a representative republic, not a democracy, holding them accountable. That is the core essence of what this country is, and this state of Michigan is, and what your home state is. I know it doesn't seem like that, because these people are very, very evil, and evil is prevailing because too many good people do absolutely nothing. Look, a lot of people work. I work. I have a job. I'm not counting this. If I can take the day off work and put out a video that thousands of people see so you guys can still go to work and still get the knowledge, I call that a win-win. And if you can take the day off work to go to a rally or to go to a meeting or to make a contact in your state house, your state center, your county commission, wherever it is, and then come back and talk to all your friends and neighbors, come back to work in the lunchroom and talk to all your colleagues that couldn't take the day off work, you should do that if you can. Maybe take turns. Maybe there's 10 of you. And maybe there's 10 events per year that you need to go to, or 10 times you feel you need to go to the Capitol to talk about a hot button issue. We'll say it's the Second Amendment. Since you're watching here, maybe you all get together. Nothing fancy, just 10 people and say, hey, can each of the 10 of us take one personal day off a year to go talk to our representative or meet new ones or go to a certain rally or whatever it is that you think you need to do? So just think about this. You guys can get the knowledge and experience of 10 different things by just doing it once. So if 10 people took one day off, came back, all of you meet up on a Saturday, go over the notes, offer each other encouragement. Hey, if you guys have awesome ideas that are better than that, throw them down in here. I'm just trying to get the conversation going, okay? Because just think about things. Like, I thought of an idea. That might have been the worst idea that's ever been thought of. But this is where I want you guys to come in and say, like, dude, that is a good idea. I've got 3 friends. We can do this 3 times one day. Or maybe you're like, dude, that's a terrible idea. But now that he's got me thinking, I have an idea that's 10 times better, which that would be cool too, right? Colin O with a super chat. Thanks, Colin. I appreciate it, man. And a channel member. He says, what is sad is former bosses, exes, family members, cops, all do a red flag on you. They know you will fight and probably die. How family could do this, as well as ex-lovers or spouses. Boy, when I'm done reading these chats, you're kind of helping me segue, Colin, so hold on a few more minutes if you're not too bored of watching yet. Because I'm about to talk about how they're going to turn a lot of our strength. They're turning it into our weakness. Not they're gonna, but they actually are doing it. Pardon me, I was out mowing grass till literally just about a half hour before this ended, and it's dusty. It hasn't rained in Michigan in a while. So let me wet my throat with this elderberry juice. Thank you, Linda, for helping be my assistant. Now, look, guys. People basically say, like, I don't know, 2A EDU is going there to try to get with a rep. Somebody literally said that tonight. Well, I'm going to confess, I do have some ulterior motives. Ultra Mega Mama Linda, oh yeah, I do have a thing for her. So you guys got me. She's not a representative, though. She's actually not into politics, but definitely have more than just a thing for her. The guys are like, did he? Well, I do. I just told you. All right. Mr. C with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. He said, David killed Goliath. Can it happen again? I don't know. I'm just being honest, dude. I don't know, but I want it to be. And if I want something to happen, I'm going to try to put my best foot forward. I'm going to try my hardest to try to achieve it. And then hopefully we win, right? And this is just me speaking for myself here. I think other people might agree with me. And if you die trying, at least you put your best foot forward. I don't want to be a POS and not try to do anything that's going to actuate any effective difference at all. and then just like lay myself out like a slain sheep at the slaughter for no reason. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, just run out there and go, blah, 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 just like run into like a line of jackboots with like howitzers and stuff. It's like, what? Now, I'd like to at least have a chance and like to at least be smart. And if you do lose, it's like, hey, I put my best foot forward. I might have still been terrible at it, but at least I tried my best and put my best foot forward in what I'm doing. That would be my thought on that. The Founding Fathers talked about divine providence, though. So, very important topic, actually. DLD After Dark, what's happening, man? Shout out to your channel. I know you understand the culture war, and I know you understand it so much that I believe you're basically on such thin ice with making content that you're forced to be on a hiatus. So good luck with that. So DLD After Dark says, I'm trying to give you a shout out, man, but I don't know where you're at right now. I don't think he has much of a, what do you say, channel in good standing? Is that the way to word it? If you're still here watching, you can try to explain if you want. A lot of my good friends on here are in that situation right now, and it does hurt me. He says, I'll say you and Crump changed my perspective on getting involved and being active. I used to be against it, but look what we've done, just with braces. If you're willing to fight, be willing to fight in all ways. Hey, man, that's where I'm at with it. And yeah, cool, man. I'm glad. Because you guys just sit there by yourself sometimes on your computers and you're thinking, man, everybody around me like just doesn't care. Or there's all these negative naysayers. No, trust me. That's not true. I talk to a lot of people. And it's like, dude, there's like millions and millions of people that are like, well, I would do something if I thought it made a difference. So each one of them, one at a time, do nothing. But we put so much pressure on them with these braces right now. Politics is downstream from culture. I didn't make that saying up. Breitbart did, but he's dead now. So I like to keep it going because I think it's very smart. It doesn't matter if the current former vice president will or won't sign the resolution that we demanded. That I see DLD After Dark, and I see my friend Paul Glasgow, Legally Armed America. What's happening, man? Excellent channel, by the way, Legally Armed America channel. I've been following his channel for a long time. Back when I should have started a channel on my own, but I was afraid to. Look. Yeah, Paul Glasgow right here. You'll see me and DLD when you go down further. There's a lot of you guys out there. And when people finally get it, this is back to what I was saying earlier. Like, no, you are important. You are all very, very important, but you have to act like it. If you say, well, only 2A EDU is important or only so-and-so is important, you're selling yourself short and you're being a screw up. Now, not you guys watching here, but this is what you need to try to encourage all your friends with. I know you guys that are here watching right now get it. You guys are good people. You guys are fighters, but tell your friends this, dude. If you want to stop being unimportant, then actually do something. So many people are calling Congress right now. They're pulling their hair out. They're at their wits' end. They'd rather be doing swamp creature things. They'd rather be doing corrupt things. Dude, none of us are fans of the political swamp going on in D.C. The couple good ones we need to get behind. But other than that, right now, we're just doing a brute force on them, okay? So many people are calling right now. So many people are writing. So many people are making noise. They have to do something. And somehow, how the sausage is made, sometimes you look at that. It's a nasty process. But at the end of the day, when you finally get that Johnsonville out on your grill, pour you a cold one if that's what you're into, it tastes good. But you don't want to watch how it's made. You don't want to watch a lot of times how gun control is overturned. How that's made can seem weird. Gun rights, how that's made in Washington, D.C. can seem weird. But I don't think it's a coincidence. Let me know what you think if you're still in the chat. Legally Armed America, DLD. Look, I know Legally Armed America is with Gun Owners of America. Now, I'm part of this same coalition as him that signed the letter, but he's actually leadership in the state of Louisiana. I don't think this is a coincidence. All of these court cases that we're going through, whether it was the GOAs, FPCs, okay, others, the frat case, they were kind of just sitting there, and it seemed almost like they were going to hang us out to dry. Then all of a sudden, we start bombarding Congress, the Republican-controlled leadership, and then out of the blue, the courts just kind of poke their head up like, really? Look. So this is what's going on right now. Now, you guys might think, okay, that who cares? I won't call my congressman demanding that HJ Res 44 and SJ Res 20, okay? You might think that calling and demanding that's going to do nothing. You might think calling and saying this is called the Short Act. Now, these are all great things. Defunding the ATF. You're like, Biden will veto it. He'll veto it. Yeah, I know he's going to veto it. However, if we get the Republican-controlled House of Representatives to pass this resolution, that shows undeniably the courts ultimately, and probably by the time this is said and done, the Supreme Court, this is where it's at right now. It's in our face. We cannot ignore it. We cannot hide from it. And right as all of you guys are out there calling and writing like you haven't done it in a long time, right? We've done more calling and writing than we have in a long time. This is proven, okay? All of a sudden, out of the blue, the courts are popping their heads up, but they're like, injunction here, injunction there. This is how the sausage is made. You might call your state representative, and it might not seem like they get it at first. Maybe you can talk them into changing their mind. But here's the thing, even if you can't, and in many cases you can't change your state representative's mind or your congressman's mind, well, guess what? That just means you need to work a little harder, because if you can't change their mind and let them know that the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed, if you can't convince them of that, that's when you need to convince all the people in your hometown and in your neighborhood, at church, at work, at school, wherever you hang out. Get them out. As Thomas Jefferson said, to alter or to abolish. That is called altering your government. If there's a tyrant in office, you alter by going over their heads, beating them in the court of public opinion, and putting someone in there that you feel will be most likely to affect your safety and happiness. This is all the same thing. There's different topics, but it's all the same in the end. Calling your state rep, find out where they're at. If you're living in a tyrannical state like Michigan, you have to find out where they're at so you know where to call them out. If you can change their mind, great. If you can't, remove them and put in somebody else that is going to be a Second Amendment defender. Same thing with this brace thing. Try to change their mind. Try to coax them. Put pressure on them. Getting them mad at you means it's working. That's how this works in politics. When they're mad at you is when it's actually working, okay? Doesn't matter what party they're in. Who cares if the Republican leadership's mad at us right now? Well, that's fine. They'll get over it or they won't. But this isn't about politics. This is about the Second Amendment, which should be above the fray of any politics. I mean, it's our God-given natural rights. We need to start doing what the other side does. The other side gets out there and they scream and they yell and they protest and they call and they write. And I'm encouraged that a lot of you guys are doing that. And you need to keep doing more of it. Because we need more shall not be infringed, not more red flag laws, safe storage laws, universal registration, background check confiscation schemes. We need zero of that. But when you do nothing, like I said earlier in the stream, when you do nothing, you're actually consenting, believe it or not. And it's a tough pill to swallow, but remind your friend that you know is a good person. All of us have a friend out there. We know they're a good person. We know they love the two-way, but they're just quiet. They won't talk at all. Now, they might not have to be as outgoing and rambunctious as me or you, but just let them know. Say, hey, man, call your congressman right now. Call your state rep right now. You know what I mean? They can be important, and they can be part of this. Legally Armed America with a very generous super sticker. Thanks so much, man. I really, really appreciate you, dude. I have something that you gave me, actually, that I've been keeping right here. We were down south in South Carolina. I kind of collect these, so I know you're supposed to wear them. I collect, so I keep them to keep it in good condition in the wrapper. So there you go. And I keep it just right over there on my desk. Good Guys, right? See that? Looks like a famous tire company, if you will. Good Guys since 1791. Good versus evil, guys, and good has to win. So keep up. Call your congressman again this weekend. That's what I'm trying to say about the pistol brace. HJ Res 44, SJ Res 20. It's called the Short Act, right? And ATF must be defunded. If not, if you can't pass the resolution, all right. We tried to be nice, is what this letter says. Very polite letter. But resolution, all right. Oh, if they don't, that's strike one. Short Act. If they don't, that's strike two. 3 strikes and you're out at the old ball game, and they're going to have to be defunded. That's literally what this letter says. I like it. That's why I assigned my name to it. QD with the super chat. Thanks, QD. He said, Rudy went from Notre Dame to flying Blackhawk to destroying the ring. Are you talking about the movie Rudy? Oh, boy. I don't think that's anything analogous to anything I said, but maybe in I don't know. Thanks, QD. Star Wars Squawk Box just became a channel member. Thank you. I appreciate you supporting the channel, and nice looking puppy in that avatar. And I want to talk about in a minute how Dana Nessel, the Attorney General of Michigan, is trying to use our strength and turn it into our weakness. So get ready for that, and then we'll be off here in a little bit. Baron Talk says, it is becoming prevalent, but God tells me it's supposed to. I love that you preach the good word, but don't take ownership of humanity's failures at 2AEDU. Thanks, man. I appreciate the encouragement. No, I'm not trying to put everything on my shoulders. I'm just trying to encourage you guys. Look, I ain't nobody special at all. I do manual labor. I'm a contractor. I know my friend Legally Armed America is a contractor that also does manual labor. We were talking a little bit about that at last year's The Gathering, actually. So trust me, there's people that are manual laborers that dig in dirt and mow grass and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. I'm not taking ownership for the shortcomings of humanities. However, I'm trying to give you guys some encouragement, some positive peer pressure, saying if I can do a little something, so can you guys. Now, you guys probably already are, but then pass that on to your friends. We need to spread this in a good way. Thanks for that thought, Ben Talk. Look, and not leaving a super chat here, but for being a constant financial supporter of the channel. I do appreciate it, man. You've helped a lot, and you still continue to. So thanks, man. Jane Locke. What's happening, Jane? How's it going? I told you I see some of you guys in real life and give you guys hugs, and Jane's one that I've definitely can't wait to give you a hug again. She says, tell those characters so there's nothing more cool than talking with your representative and convincing them to vote like you want. Hey, I think America could be cool again. You know what I'm saying? I think the founding documents are pretty darn cool. Yeah, I agree with you, Jane. Tell the naysayers to FOAD. Thanks for the encouragement. Mitchell Martel with a super chat. Thanks, dude. He said red flag laws equal legalized home invasion plus potential attempted murder. Yeah, and that's just the start, man. They actually do a lot more than that. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again, dude. Red flag laws literally will not be even allowed to exist at all in the United States of America. They need to go quickly. Because it's not just a Second Amendment issue, even though it definitely is. Oh my gosh, it's like half the Bill of Rights and 14th Amendment. Insane. And I did a rather long video just the other day going into all about the red flag laws in Michigan. If you guys haven't had a chance, come back and check them out. Fun to learn with a super chat. Thanks, dude. He said, I promise to watch the brace video. Give Cliff Notes version. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, real quick, there was look, it's actually, I can't just do a Cliff Notes version. It's a good thing that an injunction has been granted for members of FPC and customers of Maxim Defense and one, if not two, named plaintiffs, like individual people. From what FPC is saying and other people are saying, it's also all of the FPC members. However, and this is what the video is about, I'm not questioning what other people are saying. I'm just questioning reading it. I'm not convinced of that. I hope that's true, but I have questions about it, and that's what that video I did. So there is not a nationwide injunction. However, there hopefully is an injunction for all Maxim Defense customers that are new customers and FPC members, but I'm not completely certain on that. It could be from day one of the litigation. So, okay. I'm not trying to promote my own stuff, but you kind of just need to watch my video to see my argument. It's not an argument, actually. It's my question. It's a sincere question that I just don't know. All right. Anything else, Linda, before I talk about taking our strength and turning it into our weakness? QD with a huge super chat. Thanks, dude. I'm definitely going to be going to Lansing again soon, guys. He says, that's BS. You're famous. Well, famous in a small town, right? Like, okay, look, dude. No, you're right. I'll give you that, dude. Thanks for being so generous, first of all. I'll give you your due, QD. Right now in this stream, I'm very famous. I bet you everybody watching this stream knows who I am. So there you go. Famous in a small town is an old saying, right? But other than that, like literally right here within this very narrow place, I'm not famous at all. John Crump News, there he is. What's happening, man? Thanks for the super chat. He says, hey. Yeah, I said it in that video earlier, and me and Crump were talking, and it's like, hey, we're not trying to say like other people are wrong or anything like that. It's just both of us still have questions. You literally have to read. Yeah. If you literally read the plain language of it, it could go two different ways. I'll read it real quick. It literally says, and this is from crumpy.com. In that previous video, I left a link to his website, his channel, all that, because I do like to give people credit when they do the research. Let's see here. Now, we all wanted a nationwide injunction. And let me say this. Yes, guys, I completely agree with all of you that left this comment. You should not need to be a member of any organization to be able to exercise your natural God-given right to keep and bear arms. Heck no, 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 and no. There shouldn't be an injunction because there shouldn't have been a rule because there shouldn't even be ATF. That's where I stand, period. If there was even one gun control law or regulation or even one person trying to enforce the one regulation, it would be completely repugnant to the Constitution. And according to early Supreme Court precedent Marbury v. Madison, null and void. Okay? Now that you guys know that I don't necessarily agree with any of this crap, here's what it says. This is good news within the bubble that we shouldn't even need to be in. I hope you guys get what I'm saying at. Some people don't. All right. It says, although a nationwide injunction would have functionally addressed the question of the scope on which plaintiffs now seek clarity, plaintiffs understand that was not given. So this is according to the judge. There's a panel. Okay. Federal judges here. Panel. 3-judge panel, I believe, here. Instead, plaintiffs merely request clarification on whether their reading of the term plaintiffs to include the customers and members whose interest plaintiffs' Maxim Defense and Firearms Policy Coalition have represented since day one of this litigation is correct. So it's either something they've been representing or asserting since day one, and they are correct on what they've been asserting since day one. And if that's the case, then yeah, probably new members are covered. But if it literally means the people, the members whose interests have been represented, meaning like legal representation, like represented by the council since day one of the court case, well, then no, if you read the word represented that way, then you would have had to have been a member on day one of the court case being filed or heard or whatever. And unfortunately, represented has two legal terms. And I talked about that in that video. QD, thanks for another generous super chat. Thanks so much, dude. He says, take Trump and go on Grand Thumb. All right. Well, I think he's basically, are you having me, he says, or wait, the opposite. Or take Grand Thumb and go on Crump. Which one is it? I've been on John Crump's live stream before. It's been a little while. I've been trying to reach out to Grand Thumb, and he probably gets a lot of emails and is probably a very, very busy person. So if anybody has any type of direct connection, I would like to talk to him. I haven't been able to get a hold of him. It's very difficult. Now, talking about being famous, he probably does qualify as being famous, actually. Oh, he's saying, or wait, the opposite. Cutie's saying, wait, the opposite of what I said. I think he said to take Trump and go on the Grand Thumb channel. Make Trump do it. Gotcha, gotcha. There you go. If you're still watching, Trump, a little bit of friendly peer pressure. Cutie knows these guys in real life too. We were hanging out with, what was it? It was Paul, Legally Armed America, John Crump, and Flying Rich. And me and QD were hanging out down in South Carolina for a little bit there. At their house they were renting. All right. Do you guys want to know how they're using our strengths and turning them to our weakness? This is a conversation I want you guys to think about. Now, I was asserting in a demonstrative fashion everything else I said earlier. This one, and I've been honest with you guys on this. There's certain things that sometimes I don't get, and it takes me a while to get. There's other things I do get, and I just kind of sandbag my opinion and see where you guys are at. I'm not going to tell you which this is, but I want to bring up something. It's a tough question. One that I don't like, but it needs to be discussed. And I'm going to grab this super chat real quick here from Ron Wayne. Thanks for the super chat, Ron Wayne, and shout out to the Ron Wayne channel. I appreciate what you're doing, man. He says, great stream. Thank you for all you do. Look forward to shooting crags with you someday. That would be fun, dude. That would be fun. Oh, man. I appreciate it, dude. Now I'm thinking about all the lawns I have to cut. Oh. We'll hang out soon, dude. I want to hang out with a lot of you guys. All right. Now, I did a video that was about 18 minutes long talking about the red flag laws in Michigan. Now, this is about red flag laws. That's what's right, making it the tip of the iceberg in Michigan and in many other states, but it's about a lot of things. Let's talk about the police for a minute. Let's think about the thin blue line. Now, here's what I've noticed. The representatives that, and this is a Second Amendment issue. I'm talking about them when it comes to literally the Second Amendment. And I've noticed that the very Republican thing to do, because I don't want to be a politician. That's why I've not run for office. Okay. But I've noticed that this is just most, yes, there's rhinos. Just let me get through this, guys, because this can get very nuanced. Most of the time, when you think of a Second Amendment supporter, gun owner, not all gun owners are Second Amendment supporters. You think of them being Second Amendment supporter, maybe they're conservative, not always, but maybe they are. Maybe they're Republican, red, there's blue and red, gang warfare. I don't like it, but okay, you just think certain things like that. Now, a lot of these type of politicians, almost all of them, They'll vote against red flag law, but they say we support the thin blue line. We want to fund police. We want more police. We want more and more and more. And we want more and more funding. Now, it's not just Republicans that want that, though, because the Democrats and the left, and look, some Republicans are left. Just let me use generalities, guys, or it's impossible to get through this. So, the left was wanting to defund the police. But I think they're just better at lying. Because I don't think they ever wanted to defund them at all. But here's where I've started to think about things, and my views have changed on this. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what my views are right now. Not because I'm afraid of my views, nothing like that. I just want to bring this up as a conversation for you guys to think about. The Kung flu hit. Mostly peaceful protests. It was chaos in the streets. And all the left said was defund the police. Defund the police. And some local jurisdictions actually did. And while they were doing that, I was at the Michigan Capitol at a rally saying support the thin blue line. Don't defund the police because we need them to fend off Antifa, BLM, burning down cities. Mostly peaceful protests that was completely chaotic and not peaceful at all. Then as it went on and the tyranny got more and more oppressive, you know what I noticed? I noticed they were locking people up for cutting hair in Michigan. Talked about Representative Angela Regas earlier. She was one of those. I don't think she quite got locked up, but they threatened her and suspended her licenses. And anyways, they were arresting people for cutting grass. Now, whoa, that hits close to home. I cut grass for a living. And now that was on the tyrannical governor, Whitmer. Why is she a tyrant? Because she's governing outside the rule of law, and that's what tyrant simply means. But here's the thing, though. Gretchen didn't come out of her office at the Capitol to mess with the barbers. There was an older gentleman that was a barber that the police came in. There were so many you couldn't even count them. Gretchen didn't come to the barber. Gretchen didn't come out to people's lawns to threaten them or potentially drag them off their lawnmower. Don't resist. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Boom. Like, you can't fight back. Now, look, I'm not giving Gretchen a pass at all. I'm not giving her a pass over the police. I'm not even doing that. I'm just telling you guys can infer whatever you want, but I think it's something we need to think about because they are trying to turn what's perceived as the conservative sides or the right or the Republicans. Yes, I mean very general because nothing's that simple and it's not cookie cutter. But look, I just have to kind of group it into something for this conversation to be congruent. Gretchen didn't come out to anybody's lawn. She was too busy water skiing or skiing otherwise or whatever she was doing, right? Dana Nessel ran her mouth, but she didn't either. And there were some local jurisdictions, constitutional sheriffs, that said, no, I will not, in my county, arrest anybody for cutting grass or cutting hair. And I commend them for standing up to the Constitution. However, the state police, the head of the state police, serves at the pleasure of the governor. So our strength is shall not be infringed. Our strength is back the thin blue line. Support the police, the heroes in uniforms. Now, I'm not saying you think that way. I'm not saying whether I think that way or not right now. I'm just saying that's what the majority, if you guys don't believe me, take a poll. I've done it. The majority of Second Amendment supporters tend to lean more in that way. Gretchen Whitmer didn't come to Phoenix Ammunition, which is right down the road from me, my friend Justin. to shut him down for being a non-essential business, for not wearing masks. No. The state police came in and did that. And for that reason, he won't sell ammunition to police ever since then. They tried to shut his business down. They threatened to arrest him and his family, and it is a family business. And I met his brother, and, they work together. It's like, you're threatening to arrest my family? My workers? And then here's what really got me thinking and wondering. If all that wasn't enough, and there's hundreds of stories like that, probably thousands actually. They were going into one of the towns, and I can't remember which one it is, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter for those people, but it just happens so much. This is the point. It was Antifa, BLM. They were getting ready to burn a building down. And the Proud Boys. Look, I don't even know anything about the Proud Boys. And I'm being honest, I literally don't. I know at the time the leader of it wasn't even white, even though they were labeled this and that. Yeah. The other side has the mainstream media, that's for sure. But I digress. They were trying to burn down the building, and they stopped them from burning down and breaking all the glass and completely ruining someone's livelihood. I mean, geez, oh, Pete. Could you imagine someone breaking down your business or your home? The Proud Boys tried to stop the Antifa and the BLM from burning the building down. What did the cops do? They arrested the Proud Boys to remove their security away so they could keep burning it down more. Look what happened to Kyle Rittenhouse. They tried to put him away in prison the rest of his life after he was told to turn himself into the custody, to be put in custody. Kyle Rittenhouse is going to be speaking at the Michigan Capitol this July. I talked about that in this recent red flag video. So they're coming after our guns. I'm going to read this real quick and ask you about this because, look, I was out there in March of 2020 with a thin blue line flag in my hand. I'm telling you guys this just because I was, and I'm not lying to you. And all these things that I've just talked about is certainly, I've been very deep in thought on this topic for a while. And I have come to some conclusions. I just don't want to share them right now because that kind of defeats the purpose of a thought exercise. I want you guys just to think about this. Now, my friend Mateo, who you may see in the chat now, you may have seen him earlier tonight, because sometimes he goes to bed before I'm done. He's a Marine Corps veteran, a former combat engineer. We were talking one night, and he said one thing he learned. These are tactics of war that's very applicable to being a combat engineer. He said you have to take the opponent's strength and use their strength and then turn it into their weakness. Now, he gave me different examples, and one of them was, okay, if their strength is their tank is just so big and it's so heavy and it's so powerful, yeah, that's a strength. He didn't deny that. Like, a tank that big and powerful, that's mighty. But there's things called tank traps. And you can set up a certain type of tank trap, and since the tank is so heavy duty, so just massive in size and weight, you can use its strength and turn it into its weakness. Now, we weren't talking about necessarily that. He just gave me that as an example, but we did start to talk about something that was more, philosophical rather than it was just like on a battlefield. And he said part of being a Marine combat engineer is you have to be able to build something and also destroy it, and vice versa, right? Because you want to build something, like they have bridging units. There's a lot to this. It's really complicated. I wasn't in the Marine Corps, so I might be paraphrasing wrong, but one of the big things he said they learned about is to take somebody's strength and use that as their weakness against them. Much the way you would take a tank and treat it a different way than you would treat the insurgents that were coming in on foot. Take their strength, turn it into their weakness. Now let's get to Attorney General Nessel with these red flags. Attorney General Dana Nessel told the Monday crowd that she is already planning to travel to as many areas of the state as possible to educate members of the public, law enforcement, judges, and others about the importance of these laws and how they can best be utilized. Now, you guys notice I haven't said thin blue line tonight even once. And you've noticed I haven't said F the police tonight even once. Because it just ain't that simple. And it's a lot more complicated than that, actually. Because before I read this next part of what Nessel said, I'm going to tell you guys a story back to a week ago when I went to the 2A Patriot 2A days. And I showed a picture of my friend, State Representative Bob Bazat, friend to the Second Amendment. And if you guys want me to, let me know, because I think he might be a great person for me to either have on a stream or do a video with, because he's worn all three hats. Let me tell you real quick about Bob Bazat. He's actually worn, 4 hats if you really look at it, and maybe other things. But first of all, he's a veteran, so he served in the armed forces. Then he got out, was a cop, became the county sheriff for Livingston County. Then he became a county commissioner. Those are the people that pass these sanctuary counties. And now he's a Michigan representative. So he's been, I don't mean a sheriff's deputy. Well, he worked himself up through the ranks. But when he left, when he retired from the Livingston County, Michigan Sheriff's Department, Representative Bazat was the sheriff. He was the elected sheriff. Then he was a county commissioner. And he was the county commissioner when they passed the original 2A sanctuary resolution. And then now he's in his second term as a Michigan representative. He might be the best guy for me to have on to explain this, because people are wondering what happens. Yeah, there's going to be some friction and a tug of war between a constitutional sheriff. So the current sheriff in Livingston County, Michigan, is Sheriff Mike Murphy. Mike Murphy came to that event, and I heard him speak. And he said, we are not going to be enforcing red flag laws in this county. I ain't going to enforce them. It's not going to happen. We're not going to enforce any of this gun control. It's not going to happen. Okay. Now, whether you believe him or not is another thing, but just so we can keep going through this conversation, assuming you believe him. And I'm giving you no reason you shouldn't believe him. I'm just saying, for us to continue on, let's say he means what he says and says what he means. And I do have every indication in his particular instance, he does actually mean it. I don't think he's going to serve red flag orders. So wait a minute. A constitutional sheriff saying, I'm going to stand for the Second Amendment, and if a law is repugnant to the Constitution, my oath to the Constitution, I can't enforce it and will not allow any of my deputies to. See why I'm not saying F the police? It's just not that simple. And there are a lot of good constitutional sheriffs out there. To different extents, but here's where the problem is, though. We have a constitutional sheriff. That's not the problem in Livingston County. I say we. I don't live in Livingston County. Bob Bazat is not my representative. Jamie Thompson's my representative. Now, but I have a lot of ties to Livingston County. Well, let's leave it at that. So the sheriff saying will not comply, will not enforce. Okay, good, right? Our strength is we support all police, heroes, more police of every type of police. That's what, and I say "are" very loosely, air quotes. Go back and rewind 20 minutes if someone's just coming in and doesn't get how I'm framing this. She's going to use it as our weakness, because now she's going to come in and say this. Here's what she says next. First, she's going to go through and educate the public, law enforcement, and judges. You know what that means, wink, wink. If you see something, say something. She's going to just flat out try to get this big propaganda campaign where all the regular people will rat each other out, get us to confiscate our own guns from each other, because that's what they want. Give the cops their marching orders if they're willing to listen, and the judges if they're willing to listen. And many and most probably actually will. Soros funded DAs. I just saw QD said Soros out of the corner of my eye. Yes, sir. You get it, dude. Now, constitutional sheriff here and there are some. I just literally saw Mike Murphy talk a week ago. That's why I'm bringing him up. A lot of people say, well, who has the authority? How does it work? I think Representative Bob Bazat might be the best person possible for me to do that video or stream with, because he just has the vantage point. You know, he's worn all these different hats. He's the only one I know that's literally just in the past, like 6 year time period. He's been the sheriff, the elected sheriff, county commissioner, and now a state rep. Let me know, guys. Let me know. Bob's a good dude. So, I mean, he's like a cool guy to talk to and stuff. Now, hold on a minute. So, I didn't say F the police yet because, look, I'm not going to say F Sheriff Murphy because he's saying I will not comply. I will not enforce red flag laws. No, that's a good thing. Assuming he follows through. I'm not guaranteeing he will because I don't guarantee anybody else's actions. But I have no doubt that he will at the same time. Does that make sense? I think he will. I think he will not enforce them. I think he will be a man of his word on this, is what I'm trying to say. But here's what Nestle comes back with. After she's going to educate and brainwash and give orders, she says, and for those in law enforcement, look at this. And for those in law enforcement who refuse to enforce these important orders, let me say this loudly and clearly. I will make certain that I find someone with jurisdiction who will enforce these orders. Nestle said. So hold on a minute here. This is where it gets really tough for some people. Now, some of you guys are like, dude, this is the easiest thing ever. Support all of the thin blue line. Everyone that puts on a badge is a hero till I die. Easiest thing ever. Hold on. Some of you are saying, dude, I said F the police years ago. Easiest thing ever. Some of you might be kind of in the middle. You're thinking, oh, shoot. My strength was I did support the thin blue line. And my strength is that I want more funding for cops. And we need to have Heroes Week. And look, that's some of your sincerely held opinion. I know it is. And Nestle knows that's considered the colloquial. Now, not just you, not... Okay, collectively, that's considered the strength of our side. I will make certain that I find someone with jurisdiction who will enforce these orders. This is tough, guys. It's really tough. You know, I think about this and it's like, well, geez, oh, peas. There's a cop probably watching this right now being like, dude, come on, man. You know, I know you're probably like a good dude and I get it. But she's going to find someone with the jurisdiction who will enforce these orders. Now, the quiet part out loud is it's going to be the state police. So this topic is too nuanced and too important right now for me just to come in here and say thin blue line no matter what, or F the police no matter what. First of all, I don't have either of those beliefs, so that wouldn't be being genuine. It's tough. I want to think about it. I want you guys to help me think about it. Don't tell me how to think. I'm not going to tell you how to think. It's not like that. Just offer me some clarity on this topic, because I have thought it out a little more than I'm letting on tonight, but for the sake of brevity, because we've already been on 2 hours. I've had fun tonight and time does fly. Okay. But at the same time, I want you guys to think and talk, because contrary to what some people said, I consider you guys way more important than me. Like, this is important stuff and we have to think about this. It's perceived. If you don't believe me, go over to all the Republicans' Facebook pages and everywhere. And they just got done celebrating Heroes Week. A lot of good firemen out there watch this channel, and they're trying to do a BS law in Michigan where firemen you have to present your CPL to firemen. Every fireman I talked to in the comment section and in real life, paramedics, EMS, said, dude, that's got nothing to do with our job. We don't need that. We know how to safely evaluate the person's body that we're getting ready to do work on. Go back and watch that video. Everybody who is or was a fireman, EMS, paramedic, medic, look, any of these related fields, they said, we don't need this. Well, they're wanting to kind of give fire and EMS some kind of like jackbooted qualities to them. Why? Because firemen are jackboots? No, not at all. I mean, there might be some, but none that I know. See, that's very rare, actually. Kind of a really crappy, thankless job, really. You'd have to love to do it. I'm glad you guys do. Burning house, watching somebody smeared all over the pavement, that's not for me. I'm tough with certain things, but blood and guts and gore and fire, not my thing. I'm so glad some people can do that work. But they're trying to give even firemen jackbooted qualities to make more us versus them. Think about it for a minute. Think about it. Our strength is we are law and order. And I said this earlier. I do agree with law and order as long as it's the Constitution that we're following as the supreme law of the land. Once you start following unconstitutional laws, and I've done whole streams on this topic, right? Once you're following an unconstitutional law, you're technically committing a crime. So, yes, law and order, meaning the Constitution, is the supreme law of the land. Anything repugnant to that, you're technically a criminal. Okay, check. Sheriff Murphy and many others. There's Sheriff Darleaf, somebody's talking about right now. There's a lot of them. I don't know them all. But look, I will not enforce red flag. Check. Great. But hold on a minute. The gun owners, the conservatives, we back the blue, more heroes, more money. I will make certain that I find someone with jurisdiction who will enforce these orders. NASA will not come to your house to take your guns. Neither will Gretchen Whitmer. Police will come to your house to take your guns. Think about that for 1 minute. The side that always said defund the police sure likes them a lot now, don't they? NASA said she will make certain I find someone with jurisdiction who will enforce these orders. And what are these orders? They're confiscation orders. They come and they take all of your guns. All of them. If you get a red flag order against you, it's an ex parte hearing. You don't even know about it. You've already lost before you even knew. You know, I used to live in a country where it used to be one of those that when you were really putting a situation down, you've heard people say this your whole life. They're like, oh, well, that's nothing that can stand on. That's just a he said, she said. When you said this is a he said, she said, that meant there wasn't much merit to it, right? At least that's how I understand that long used phrase. Man, I'm begging that we could go back now. Air quotes for those of you listening. I'm begging I could go back to when we had he said, she said BS. No. This isn't he said, she said. This is just she said. You're scoring ex-wife. You're scoring ex-girlfriend. Any police officer? Hold on a minute. You mean the same ones that she's educating? Any law enforcement officer in the whole state can flag you. So all of you that are voluntarily or involuntarily celibate and have never even talked to a woman in your whole life, you're still screwed. Because any cop in the whole state can flag you in any court that they want. And she's educating them. They're getting educated and they will follow orders and they will enforce. No, this ain't he said, she said. This is just she said. And that's it. There is no he said or you said. So somebody said, all right, take the guns first, then no due process, and they take But you don't get the right to a lawyer. You don't get the right to face your accuser. You don't get the right to have a jury by your peers. Oh, no, no. None of that. They just take. And who's going to take them? It's very clear who's going to take them. The police are going to come to your house and take your guns if you get red flagged. And anyone can get red flagged. Actually, like everybody could get red flagged. I don't know. She's going around and educate the public. Look, this isn't like just a couple. Let me read this one more time. Look, this is the Back the Blue crowd that's usually the Second Amendment crowd. They're trying to take what they perceive as a strength and turn it into our biggest weakness. This is bad. Okay? She is already planning to travel to as many areas of the state as possible. So she's not just going to go talk to like one cop or one member of the public or one judge. She's going to go to as many cops as possible, judges, and people. So the people will rat you out. Okay? The judge will issue the red flag. They can judge shop. You could live in the UP. Your neighbor in the UP could file a red flag order down in Washtenaw County, Michigan, Wayne County, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. Just to keep that in mind. Now, someone in Detroit could file a red flag up in a court in the UP too. They probably wouldn't do that. It's going to be the opposite, right? Law enforcement officer has the standing to flag you. The judge, they do not have to do beyond any reasonable doubt. It's a lower standard than that. And then you get the order. That means that's the order. We're coming for your guns. I just had someone yesterday. Can you believe this? Hold on a minute. I'm going to get off in 1 minute. I just had somebody yesterday that said, dude, relax. Like, why are you still talking about this? Ain't nobody coming after your guns. I'm like, they passed red flag laws. The Attorney General, I know someone's saying, well, in my state we have red flag laws and it ain't really. Okay, maybe not. But I'm talking about this. Look, have you ever seen an Attorney General like put this out? Attorney General Nussel told the Monday crowd, this was in public, that she's already planning to travel to as many areas of the state as possible to educate members of the public, law enforcement, judges, and others, don't forget that, about the importance of these laws and how they can best be utilized. Like, you can't even make this up. Right there. I will make certain that I find someone with jurisdiction who will enforce these orders. And who do you think that'll be? Ooh. Man, there's a lot of good cops out there. They've got families to feed. I know. So do I. But if I don't do my job, the grass doesn't get cut. I do actually know about that, though, living in this tyrannical state. I actually know all about that. I was just following orders. Don't blame me. I was just following orders. Said a lot of good people in Nuremberg. See, there were a lot of evil people and a lot of not so evil people that served in the Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years in Germany. You can't convince me every single person that was involved in the machine was evil, because a lot of them didn't even know everything that was going on necessarily. Well, when they brought in some of the higher ranking officers and they held this neutral trial where the world put them on trial. It's called the Nuremberg trials. Look it up. And the defense was, hey, I can't be held liable for the gassing and the many other things that they had that was alleged against them at that time. They said, I was just following orders. And what the conclusion is if you follow an order like that, it's an illegal, unconstitutional order, just following orders is not an excuse. But you know what I saw during the flu? that was going on, people would take their little YouTube videos and be like, "What's wrong with you?" to these cops and say, "Why are you arresting this man? He's just cutting hair." And not always, but a lot of times the cop would look up. A lot of times they were state troopers that were doing a lot of the work and city police. Maybe some sheriffs, but predominantly it seemed like it was state troopers and city police. I know whether you guys live in the city or the country, a liberal area versus conservative area is going to completely color your opinion on all this. That's why I'm bringing it up as a conversation. But I saw more than once on video where the cop would be like, "Hey, don't get mad at me, man. Don't take it personal. I'm just following orders." And then people would say, "Well, but this is my livelihood. This is my life. I need to feed my family. You're allowed to buy cigarettes and beer and weed and everything else, but you're not allowed to buy seeds for your garden, and you can't get your grass mowed. Social distancing, but you can't mow the lawn in the middle of like 50 open acres by yourself. That's illegal. But you can sit there and toke on a doobie, which you pass around." And look, none of this made any sense. There was a lot of them during COVID, like a lot of cops during COVID just kind of hung their head down and said, "Don't make me arrest you. I don't really want to. I don't really agree. I'm a good Republican too, support the thin blue line. But I still have to kick you out of your own business. And don't make me do it," they'd say, "but I do have to arrest you if you don't leave." It's like, excuse me? You said you don't have a problem with me. I don't, but I'm just following orders. Now, what's going to happen if a good NRA, card carrying, gun owning, skeet shooting cop comes to your house? He says, "Excuse me, sir, I've come for your guns." Just think about it. "How do you do, sir? How do you do?" "Not so good for you because I'm coming for your guns." It'll be a perfectly calm conversation, I'm sure, right? I'm sure it'll be just that calm. "What's happening, officer? Good day, sir. Your guns, all of them, with me now. But you can't take my guns. You swore an oath to the Constitution. Stop resisting. I'm just following orders." "Good day, sir. Let me help you carry the guns out to your squad car," but you won't be able to even do that. Just think about that. "Stop resisting. I'm just following orders." What's your prediction? What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? I read what the Attorney General said. I know there's good people out there that are cops. I've seen constitutional sheriffs that are like, "I'm going to." We're going to have to see what happens. It's one thing to say, "I will not execute a red flag law," which is great. But how many are going to like step it up a notch and say, "Not only will I not execute a red flag law, but I will make sure nobody executes one in this whole county"? How many sheriffs are pledging to do that? How many sheriffs will pledge to do that? To say, "And I will not execute, and nobody will execute a red flag order in my county." Meaning, will the sheriff send his deputies to stand in between you? And in Michigan, the state troopers happen to wear blue. So will they send their deputies with their guns and their cars? Will they put them and their guns in between you and the state troopers' guns? It's a very important question to ask. I think this is a very important thing to think about. It's something that's definitely going to separate the men from the boys when it comes to some of this stuff. Just think about this. There's a big difference. Look, there's three categories. There's either the "I will confiscate every gun I possibly can. I want them all gone." That's going to be some people, unfortunately. Some law enforcement departments will think that way. When you get to the bigger cities, there'll be a higher likelihood of that. I get it. Then there's going to be the sheriffs that say, "I will not execute even one red flag order, and I won't enforce any of this gun control." Will there be a third category? What happens when an immovable object hits an unstoppable force? So imagine this, the boys in blue. And I know blue's colloquial for just cops, but like the sheriffs a lot of times wear brown in Michigan, right? And blue. So you've got the blue and the brown, and yeah. What's going to happen if the blue's coming in hot? I'm just following orders. No offense. I'm just following orders. And meanwhile, they say, nope, not in my county. That order's not valid. It's contrary to the Constitution. It's null and void. You will not enter. Mitchell Martell, thank you for the super chat, sir's house. Because although he lives under Commandant Wickersham's rule, as he said, you ain't going in his house. Well, deputies stand there with their badge, with their gun, with their cuffs, in between Joe Public, Mitchell Martell, and the state police. Will the state police officers follow the orders? I'd like to say no way in heck. They sure followed a lot of them. A lot of them followed a lot of the orders during COVID. I know you guys are at least thinking, or you've already made up your mind, but there's going to be a lot to this. Gray Man with a super chat. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you being a longtime supporter of the channel. He says, not promoting, just received from FPC. You are receiving this email because you are an active member and thereby covered by the injunction. They are encouraging family and friends to join to receive the same protection. Okay, look, I did my video and said, look, guys, if you had the money, it wouldn't hurt to donate to both of them a little bit, you know. Yes, they are definitely going to assert that, and I hope they're right, and I think they probably are, but I had a question that I know a lot of you guys had. A lot of people were confused by the wording of that, and that would go into, if you guys have about 9 minutes or whatever, you could watch that video that I did earlier. So thank you for passing that news on. I'm not giving legal advice, neither is Gray Man, but I do appreciate you not only supporting the channel, but get that news out there so people know a little bit of what's going on. Yeah, the SWAT teams do wear camo and all that. Exactly. I was just kind of using the whole, it's the boys in blue, but it's the, yeah. Arguing with people on Twitter was about how they are coming for our guns was a complete waste of time. Maybe not, but probably not the most effective way. I agree. That's why every time I talk to try to encourage you guys on here, first of all, I'm not really a Twitter person. I have an account, don't really use it much. My wife will help me post there from time to time. But when I'm talking about this online stuff, I'm like, look, guys, let's talk about this stuff. And then I'm encouraging you guys to actually go in real life and actually go to your county commissioners, go to your city council, your township trustee, or whatever, state capitol. But I don't want to completely say like it's useless to argue on Twitter. Look, if it's helping build morale, if it's helping to keep you or anybody encouraged, then go for it. Keep your mind active. Second of all, politics is downstream from culture. And the new court of public opinion isn't like town square with the big clock tower like it used to be in many cases. It's not in the tavern. It might be on a Twitter thread or in a chat room or in a wherever, in a YouTube stream. So with that said, I'm not going to discount and say, hey, people talking in the taverns during the country's founding was very important. People talking in the town square, out back behind the barn, behind the bales of hay in the field, hiding and talking, and sometimes coming out publicly, sometimes having private conversations. I think it's just as important now as it was then. So no, just tweeting and having a Twitter war is never going to solve problems, but I won't dismiss it because they're all just different pieces of the puzzle that sometimes we might not actually understand how it all works. But then the pieces come together and it's like, oh, now I understood how that worked or whatever, right? I mean, none of us are omnipresent, so. Jim Falcone, what's happening? Says 2A. I don't think you're going to get a lot of police officers doing it. I know I won't. A bunch of my friends, I believe in the Second Amendment, and that's awesome, dude. Thank you for telling me that. And I don't want you or any other cops watching. I told you guys, I know there's cops watching here. This is not me bashing cops. It's really just not that simple. I'm just telling you some things I saw during COVID, and we all saw that, right? Nestle's literally saying she's sending them. I just want to be left alone. You know what I mean? Leave me alone. Like, dude, I will tell you guys this much. I'm just saying cops with air quotes because that means, look, they could be sheriff, city, state. Representative Bob Bazat, completely against this. Representative Mike Harris, former cop, completely against this. He was a police officer. Bazat, former sheriff, right? And then Brian Bagol, state representative Brian Bagol, former county sheriff, elected sheriff, right up until just a couple of years ago. If JJ Rainey's still in here, I believe it's JJ's former sheriff. Look, these guys were adamantly and vehemently against red flag and said, dude, I don't know any cops that want to be the ones to say, I'm here and I'm coming for your guns. But now Nestle's saying, hold on, but Nestle comes in and says, and for those law enforcement who refuse to enforce these important orders, let me say this loudly and clearly. I will make certain that I find someone with jurisdiction who will. This is getting tough. This is getting crazy, guys. And I think for any cops that are watching, right, Jim? You're probably like, dude, like from my perspective, it's even crazier than it is from yours. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you might be thinking that, right? Look, this is tough. I want to just say there ain't no cops that are going to follow this order at all. I want to say that so bad. I can't say that, though, for certain, because I watched cops enforcing some pretty insane orders. Now, let me be clear. I never said I watched all cops do this. No. But I watched some, more than one, more than two, more than 10. I watched enough cops to notice it that actually were enforcing these orders during the flu. I was asked where I was going one day. And I said, freely moving about the country. He said, you don't understand. They actually were setting up basically essentially checkpoints in Michigan at one point. Right? Are you an essential worker? The cop was asking me. He said, I don't answer questions. I'd like to just exercise my natural right to keep moving, and I don't want to talk. I mean, I don't know. Don't know, but I wanted you guys to think about it. I'm not giving you any answers tonight, but I'm bringing up stuff that I think is worth discussing. And remember one more time, I don't want it to be this way. I didn't bring it this way. It's important for Memorial Day to remember the fallen. This is not Veterans Day. Shout out to the veterans, but this day isn't for you. This is the day for people who we can't thank face to face, but we should remember and mourn their loss, because although a lot of veterans ultimately were fighting for the military-industrial complex, most of them, virtually all of them probably, we're fighting to make America, keep America free, make America more free, make the world more free. And that is a big sacrifice to fight for the good reasons and to try to fight the good fight. Now, in hindsight, even as Dwight Eisenhower said, after he was President Eisenhower, General Dwight D. Eisenhower got elected as President Eisenhower. When he was leaving the Oval Office in his farewell address, he said one of the biggest things that concerned him was the military-industrial complex. And it's a big machine. And it's a big war machine. Because although I commend the fallen, because I believe almost all of them, like literally virtually almost all of them, fought for the right reasons. And I think we should all pray for their souls and their families, for some of them are recently fallen. And they are heroes for going out there, because I truly believe that almost all had the right intent. And sometimes people did fight to make things more free. Keep in mind, you think of Memorial Day and veterans, those who died, at Lexington Green and at the bridge in Concord. These are both in Massachusetts. You know, they're veterans too, as far as I'm concerned, and are part of this. So some people fought with their heart and soul for good causes that were good. Other people fought in their heart and soul for good causes that were probably just further in the military-industrial complex and making us less free. However, just like the police may be ordered to come and confiscate your guns, it doesn't mean every single police officer is bad necessarily. I mean, you tell me what you think. We'll see. Hopefully there's a lot that aren't so bad. Just like people that went to fight to make the rich richer and the powerful more powerful, I don't think most people did it for that reason. And I do think it is an important day. And although I have a lot of disdain for the military-industrial complex, because that is what it is, there's plenty of big money to be made for war. I don't even know why we fight in any wars anymore, because we fight for the sake of fighting, but at the end of the day, the more we keep fighting in wars, the less free we become. It's a complicated topic, but I definitely think it's important to remember the fallen. And I think many, many people, virtually almost everybody who ever put a uniform on for this country did it so that we could be more free and paid the ultimate sacrifice for a country and a grand experiment on self-governance that they truly, truly loved. So hope you guys have a good Memorial Day. Be safe out there. And I will see you guys back on this channel again very soon. And I will read this whole chat over the weekend. So if I didn't read your comment tonight, you didn't waste your time. You're just offering me encouragement that I'm going to get over the weekend. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.